All right, so London's calling, huh? And this time, we're going deep into Southwark. Not just the usual stops, though. We're talking hidden gems, local favorites, the stuff that makes a trip unforgettable, right? You sent over your itinerary, some articles that caught your eye?
Exactly. We're diving into those, pulling out those details that'll really make your trip special.
Okay, so first up, I gotta ask about this borough market. Over 1,000 years old. This is like market royalty. And you mentioned you love food history. Can you imagine? Tasting recipes passed down for
And
generations.
for a foodie like you, the variety is just incredible. We're talking like artisanal breads, street food from all over. The articles even recommend, get this, starting your day there.
Oh, see, now that's a pro tip. Fuel up before the crowds hit. I like it. But after all that hustle and bustle, you'll need a change of pace.
No.
One of your articles mentions Southwark Cathedral's gardens, how peaceful they are.
It's true. And the contrast is fascinating. You're tucked away right next to all the city buzz, but it's like stepping back in time. And speaking of contrast, that article about the Tate Modern, did you know it's a converted power station?
Seriously. From electricity to art, that's a wild transformation.
Right. What kind of art do you even put in a place like that? It's got to be something special. And bonus, general admission is free.
Okay, that's dangerous knowledge. My wallet's already nervous. But speaking of art, though totally different, that Dulwich Picture Gallery article kind of spoke to me.
Oh, I see why. After the Tate Modern, which is all about energy and impact, right? Dulwich offers that tranquility, those old masters, in a serene setting.
Okay, you had me at Old Masters. I can already picture it. Those
Hmm.
quiet galleries, just soaking in the artistry. But then again, there's that energy of the Museum of London Docklands that always draws me in.
And what's interesting is both Dulwich and the Docklands offer a glimpse into London's past, but in such different ways. One through art, the other through the city's gritty maritime history. It's like Jordan choosing between a portrait and a sea shanty. Which speaks more to you?
You know, that's what I love about Southwark. That ability to be both at once, old and new, serene and bustling.
And speaking of both at once, we had to talk about Shakespeare's Globe. It's the time machine, basically.
Right.
They've recreated that whole Elizabethan playhouse experience. Open roof, the works. You're not just watching a play, you're in it.
Okay, I'm getting chills just thinking about that. And then picture this. After experiencing that, you wander down to the bankside, grab a pint overlooking the Thames.
And the views. Don't even get me started. Millennium Bridge, Tate Modern. It's like London's greatest hits are right there in front of you.
It's almost too much, in a good way, you know? But let's say you need a break from all that history. Your itinerary mentioned Elephant and Castle, how it offers a different side to Southwark.
Totally. Imagine like a mix of cultures, street food that'll make your head spin.
And just when you think you've got Southwark figured out, bam! Canada Water, a lake, in London. This is why I love these deep dives.
It's amazing, isn't it? These little pockets of peace right in the middle of it all. Picture this. After a day exploring, just strolling by the water.
Okay, you've officially convinced me I need to book a flight ASAP. But before we wrap up, there's one last stop on this Southwark adventure we have to discuss.
Ready for something a little, well, different. The old operating theater. Not exactly your typical tourist spot, is it?
I know, right? Victorian surgery. That article had me both fascinated and a little queasy. But I'm hooked. What was it like back then?
Let's just say, not a place for the faint of heart. No anesthesia, tools that look like they came from a horror movie. It really makes you appreciate how far we've come.
Seriously, happening right in the heart of London, too. You know, it's funny, though, when you think about it, Southwark's always been a place for entertainment. Not just the Globe, but that Bankside area, too.
Oh yeah, that article really brought that to life, didn't it? Even back in Shakespeare's day. It was the place to be, especially if you were a bit rebellious. Like to live life on your own terms. Theaters, pubs, even bear baiting right there on the river.
It's amazing how some areas just have that energy, you know, like it just hangs around through the centuries. And those views, the Millennium Bridge, the Tate Modern.
Speaking of, we should loop back to those art experiences. We talked about Dulwich, that classic old masters vibe.
And the Tate Modern with its more, I don't know, in-your-face energy.
And yet both offer these amazing insights into how art reflected the times, you know? Dulwich is like preserving a moment in time, the techniques, the subjects, a glimpse into what captivated people then.
And the Tate Modern, it's like stepping right into a conversation about what art means now, today, especially in that old power station. It's pretty incredible.
Right. And then you have a place like Elephant and Castle. That's where art spills out onto the streets, into the food, everything.
It sounds like a place where you experience art with all your senses. That article mentioned some really cool street art, those bustling markets. Oh, and speaking of the markets, what's the food scene like there? I can't resist good international cuisine.
Oh, you're speaking my language. It's a huge part of the experience there.
Oh.
Elephant and Castle is like this amazing blend of cultures, and the food reflects that. Think traditional South Asian, Caribbean, even classic British, but with a twist.
Okay, now you're just making me hungry. I can already picture myself wandering through those stalls. But even seasoned travelers need a break sometimes. What about that urban oasis, Canada Water?
Ah, yes. Imagine you're right in Southwark, but suddenly you stumble upon this tranquil lake surrounded by greenery. It's like stepping into a different world. Stroll along the water, have a picnic. They even have open-air concerts and films sometimes.
It's incredible how Southwark can be all these things at once. Electric, but also peaceful, historic, but modern. Speaking of electric, though, the old operating theater, that's going to be something else.
There's something about confronting the realities of Victorian surgery that really makes you grateful for modern medicine.
Seriously. Anyone listening who loves those slightly morbid but totally fascinating glimpses into the past,
Mm,
this is it. So, out of all these places, which one are you most drawn to?
I know, it's a tough one.
It really is. They each offer such a unique piece of the Southwark puzzle. But if I had to pick one to start with, Borough Market. It's not just a place to eat, it's like the heart of Southwark. All that history, the energy, it's the perfect way to get a feel for the place before you explore more.
I love that. Start at the heart and go from there. I have to say, though, after going through all this, I'm a little overwhelmed. In a good way, but where do you even begin with so many amazing options?
Don't overthink it. Those articles you sent, think of them as starting points. Maybe a photo catches your eye or a detail piques your curiosity. Just follow those threads, see where they lead.
It's about the experience, not just
Uh-uh.
checking things off a list, right? Exactly. And it's often those unplanned moments that turn out to be the most memorable. A chance encounter, a hidden alleyway. That's the good stuff.
Like you said, get a little lost, talk to the locals, see what you find. That's where the real magic happens. So, to our listener out there, ready to tackle Southwark, any final advice? How to make the most of it?
Don't be afraid to deviate from the plan. See an interesting side street. Go for it. Some of the best discoveries are the ones you least expect. And most importantly, just savor it. Southwark gets under your skin. Trust me.
I believe it. Sounds like you've been bitten by the Southwark bug yourself. This has been fantastic, and I have a feeling our listener is about to have one incredible adventure. Until next time, everyone, happy travels.